Hey everyone.
How's everyone doing? Welcome to Art and Story Time. Um, well, thank you all for joining us this week. Can everyone hear me? Yeah, okay, great. So thank you all for joining us. We have a very special week this week. But before we get started, I want to just do the housekeeping that we usually do every week. If you want to remain anonymous, please keep your camera on, keep your camera off. And the best way to experience the event is if you put the Zoom on speaker view. Okay. So yeah, my name is Sara Ferreira, and I work with the Arts Institute of Middlesex County, and we are so excited to bring you all art and story time this week. We're here every week at 4 p.m. and we've been doing this since February, so we're really excited to keep on doing this for Pride Month. And we have a really special guest, Ms. Aaliyah Martinez, who's going to be reading for us and talking to us about Pride Month. And then we're going to do a fun activity. But before that, I would like to play a video of Mr. Sean Hewitt from the Civic League, who are our partner agencies in the Art and Story Time.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Hewitt, Director of Youth Leadership with the Civic League of Greater New Brunswick. The Civic League is a 76-year-old nonprofit agency that has been dedicated to assisting African American and other minority groups here in the Greater New Brunswick community. We are pleased to be working with the Art Institute of Middlesex County over these past couple of weeks to facilitate and connect youth and community through the arts. It is my pleasure to have introduced several of our young teens to this activity, and we look forward to continuing this partnership. Hope you enjoy the presentation.
Woohoo! Thank you, Mr. Sean. And I saw Mr. Sean today earlier. Some background, today's been a little bit crazy because other than Pride Month, we're also celebrating Juneteenth this week. So Miss Sally and I have been downstairs at the Arts Institute painting a mural on the street of George Street and Livingston Avenue and Liberty Street. So we were actually with Mr. Sean earlier today, and he had some students there. So if you all are available tomorrow, we'll be doing an event with the NAACP of New Brunswick at 3 p.m. in Monument Square Park. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me after the program ends. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Sally.
Okay, got my button now. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sally, and I work with Sarah at the Arts Institute of Middlesex County. I am really pleased to introduce to you Miss Aaliyah Martinez. She's our guest reader for this week, and she and I have spent a lot of time together over the past week or so because on Sunday, she had a really wonderful workshop for us, teaching us all about how to do makeup. Not just any makeup, though, very special makeup. That's makeup for the stage. So it's called drag queen makeup, and it's often really extra bright and extra fabulous and extra wonderful. And I got to do it on my own self, and she was demonstrating how to do it on others. So I learned a lot, and it was really fun. And I also know that she is just a great presenter and great reader. So we're really happy to have her with us today. She is not only a great kind of famous person locally, but she's also been a national award-winning drag queen who has won national awards. And she's also been a lead performer, the special featured host in several Pride festivals throughout the country. So we're really pleased to have her here with us today. And I know I'm the boring one, so please, Miss Aaliyah, take it away. We'd love to hear from you now.
Thank you, Sarah and Sally. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. I see some amazing faces already and some really cool backgrounds. So I'm very excited to be here and read this amazing book. This is called Julian Is a Mermaid. And as you can see, I've decked out in my mermaid finest today. We've got my fins and a little sparkle for you today. So this is Julian Is a Mermaid by Jessica Love. This is a boy named Julian, and this is his abuela. Those are some mermaids. So we can see Julian is sitting there reading to his abuela, and for those of you who don't know, abuela is grandmother, and his abuela is sitting next to him on the first page, and behind him, sneaking into that train are those mermaids. So on the next page, we learn that Julian loves mermaids. And they have beautiful hair, red, pink, blue. I didn't quite change my hair color today, so we went with the natural color, but I'm sure some of you would love to have some red, pink, or blue hair. And we're gonna find out what Julian's fantasy mermaid are like on the next page. So as you can see, Julian is not only sitting with the mermaids, but he is jumping into his fantasy land. Julian loves to be in the water. He loves to go swimming, and he's getting ready to have the adventure of his life. And up in the right-hand corner of your screen, you can see there are some fishies swimming towards him. I wonder what that's all about. So on the next page, we can see that Julian gets to swim with those beautiful sea creatures. We have manta rays, we have octopus, we have some fish with some jellyfish in there, and there's Julian just having the best time of his life, being able to swim with his friends, the sea creatures. What a beautiful picture. On the next page, Julian not only gets to swim with the sea creatures, but Julian is living the life of a mermaid. And he seems to see a wise older fish that is gifting Julian with something. That fish is beautiful in its blue hue, and that fish is giving Julian probably a gift of life, and a life that we're about to find out Julian wants to live. So, vámonos, mijo. This is our stop. For those of you who don't know, vámonos means come on or let's go. It's time to get off the train. And you can see Julian made an impression on those mermaids. Julian made friends with those mermaids. Even if he didn't get to talk to them, they saw that he was really, really inspired by them. And so they got to wave goodbye to him as well. In the next scene, we see that there are some amazing kids playing in the sprinkler, but wait, that's not a sprinkler. So in New York City, we don't have lungs to put our sprinklers in, so sometimes we run through the fire hydrants. And that's where I'm from. I live right here in New York City. And I'm sure in Jersey, where some of you may be from as well, that happens because we are in a compact city, and so we don't necessarily have the yards to run through our sprinklers, but we do get to play in the fire hydrants. Abuela, did you see the mermaids, Julian says? I saw them, mijo. And they are wandering to their next destination. And mijo means my boy. So that is her boy, her grandson. Abuela, I am also a mermaid. So Julian is telling his abuela that he feels like a mermaid on the inside, and that's what he wants to be. And as they get inside, abuela says, I'm gonna go take a bath now. You be good. I hope Julian follows his abuela's instructions and is good. Usually that's rewarded in the end. But Julian has a good idea. It looks like Julian's up to something. He has that mischievous look on his face in that first little picture of him. He kicks off those shoes, takes off that shirt, and then walks over to abuela's potted plant. It looks like he's making some sort of headdress out of that, doesn't it? He is going over to abuela's nightstand or a makeup mirror, which looks like it has some flowers on it. And he's going to decorate that headdress that he used the potted plant and those flowers to make. Then Julian gets a little curious. We see him looking up at that curtain. Now, Julian looks like he has an idea to make something out of that curtain. I definitely recommend checking with your mom or your dad or your abuela before we tear the curtains off the walls. But it looks like Julian's creativity is just flowing, and he is very excited to present his look. As you can see, he is proud and standing tall in that last picture. So Julian walks up to his abuela and she says, oh, uh-oh. She doesn't look too happy. So Julian looks a little scared in the next page, and abuela is walking away, so we're not quite sure what's going to happen. But if we move on, we can see that Julian is a little confused. Abuela wasn't happy, but he was so happy with his look, and he's not quite sure what to do. think about it. What would you do in that situation? Maybe you would run and say sorry. Maybe you would add another sparkle or another flower. Let's see. So Abuela says, come here, mijo. Julian is hesitant, but he's going to go to his abuela and see what she wants. And she hands him something. She's handing him something, and it looks like pearls. For me, abuela, for you, Julian. So pearls come from the sea or the ocean, and mermaids love pearls. So abuela is extending this out to say, I understand that you feel like a mermaid, and I want you to be happy as a mermaid. And then in the next picture, we can see that abuela and Julian are walking outside. So not only did she give Julian a gift, but she really wanted Julian to be shown off to the public and be able to show his amazing garment off in public. Julian's asking, where are we going? They're walking past this brick wall. You see two little dachshunds or wiener dogs there walking by him. And then you see those two ladies in bathing suits checking out Julian's cool look. And abuela says, you'll see where we're going. On the next page, we get to see a little bit before Julian does where he's walking into. But as he rounds that corner, he says, mermaids, and he whispers it. And as you can see, we have mermaids of all different kinds. We have octopus mermaids, which look a little bit like Ursula. We have jellyfish mermaids. We have coral mermaids. And then right behind Julian, we have that little shrimp. So maybe that little shrimp is going to grow into something bigger or find another costume. Or maybe he just wants to stay a shrimp the rest of his life. And then abuela realizes that Julian felt a little different. So she's telling Julian, these people are like you, mijo. You are not alone. There are other people out there like you. So let's join them. Let's follow them in this beautiful parade that they're having. And you can see all of these different types of people. We have some amazing parades in New York City, and I believe you have them in New Jersey. And we have a mermaid parade right here. I am not sure the last time, I think the last time it happened was 2019, but hopefully it'll come back soon. And you can see some amazing outfits, and you can see some amazing people walking along the streets and just expressing themselves as the mermaids that they know they are. And on the next page, Julian not only gets to be in the parade, but he gets to see his friends, those mermaids that were on the train, and they walk with them. And so the last page says, and they do. So they get to walk in that parade along the beach, along the boardwalk, kind of like Coney Island, which is a boardwalk right here in New York City and Brooklyn. And you can maybe, if you go watching along the ocean, you can see your own mermaid. Or maybe you can get your own tail and jump in the ocean as a mermaid yourself. So that's our book today. And I really feel like it's talking about individuality and being your own self. And I would encourage you to really be your own self. Look at that beautiful picture of all the mermaids and Julian swimming along. Abuela even turned into a mermaid, it looks like. But I would really encourage you to be yourself to your parents and to your family, and let them know who you are. And if you feel like a mermaid, dress up as a mermaid. If you feel like a cat, dress up as a cat. And if you just feel like you want to express yourself in any way, do that, because you are your own individual person.
Thank you so much, Aaliyah. Thank you.
That was so great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yay. So I want to open it up to everyone that's here on the call and say, as you can tell, Miss Aaliyah is dressed up as a mermaid today. So I was wondering if anybody either dressed up, like I'm wearing these really cool this cool seashell necklace. Anybody wants to say anything about mermaids? If anyone dressed as a mermaid? Oh, I knew Antonio would want to say something.
I just had this ear turtle earrings.
Oh,
Nice.
I love it. That's awesome. Thank you.
That I didn't even remember that we had to dress up like a mermaid. It was like a coincidence.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You already had them on.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Cadence, you want to share?
So I have like this blanket that's like a mermaid tail.
Oh, that's so cool. Just like Julian. That's so cool. Awesome. That's great.
Love that.
So part of our, well, I thought we were going to say something.
I was gonna say that I was really excited about the way that Julian found things near him that he made into a costume, because he saw the flowers sitting there and I'm sure he loved them just being flowers, but he realized there was something else that he could do with them too. And he made the curtain into his long tail, and he made those plants into his fantastic headwear. That was great. And I was going to ask Miss Aaliyah if you have used creative things in your costumes. I know you have a lot of costumes. And so, how do you decide what to wear, and what are some of the fun things that you have done to make costumes?
I've used a lot of materials over the years, definitely. Some of them, what's the most creative? I've used tissue paper to make a dress. So we lined it with cloth and then put tissue paper all over it to make kind of like a cotton candy look. And the way that I decide costumes is really on how I'm feeling that day. So a lot like Julian, he was feeling like a mermaid, and Julian felt like he wanted to express himself. And so even today, when I chose this, I said, I want fins. I want something that sparkles so that everybody can see something a little bit more grand today. And so that's how I choose what I'm looking. It's always on my mood and how I'm feeling. Sometimes it actually helps me be in a better mood.
How about everybody on the call? Do you sometimes use creative things in your, when you do dress up, and when you decide you want to wear something special, and what are some of those things that you've done?
Well, I wanted to say that when I was younger, I used to dress up just like Julian. I used to wear, like, I used to grab a blanket and wrap myself in a dress, and then grab like a I don't know, some kind of tie, and then make it like a belt. And I thought I was like the beauty queen.
That just reminded me what I did when I was little. I always wanted to have really long, beautiful hair. But my hair never really grew a lot longer than it is right now. So what I did, I took an old pair of stockings, like kind of skin colored stockings, and I twisted them around, twisted the legs around, and put a knot in the bottom. And I pretended, I thought that was my braid. So when I put those on my head, so when I wore that, I just felt like I had the most long, beautiful hair that I could toss over my shoulder. And it was just so much fun to feel that way.
I've done
Candace.
that.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, Cadence?
Music definitely changes my mood sometimes. I've seen Hamilton like 5-10 times, and once I dressed up with like blankets and stuff as King George III.
That's awesome.
I love that.
That's drag.
Yeah.
That's a performance art in itself. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love to lip sync and dance around to music.
Yes.
That's a great point, Cadence, about like how music can help you change who you are. Miss Aaliyah, do you want to talk about, do you do a lot of like singing, and how singing kind of makes you transform, or helps you transform, makes you feel?
Yeah, I do a lot of sing. I lip sync and I sing live. I would say I much more feel kind of the fantasy of myself when I'm singing live, and I get to really feel like I'm on stage in front of a huge orchestra or a big band, and really feel that. It's really crazy how your imagination can take hold of things, even if I'm performing out at like a brunch or something and I'm on a sidewalk, I can still feel like I'm on a huge stage and performing in front of everybody. So music has always been a huge part of my life, and I've actually toured with a couple Broadway companies, so I've been able to fill that fantasy in real life too.
Incredible. I love that. Antonia, do you want to say something?
Yeah. Can you show us your dress?
The dress, it's a jumpsuit, but yeah, I'm happy to show you. It's got lots of scales and
Isn't that cool? I love the texture and how
Yeah.
shiny it looks.
Mhm.
I wish I
Yeah.
had one.
I know.
That looks
Our
great.
little cousin has one of those like fake tails, and they're soft, like
Mhm.
they're like you can sleep in it, and she has one of those.
I would love to have one of those. I think that would be so cool.
But
Take pictures.
she lives in Colombia, so I can't have it right now.
Aw. just tell her you need it for the weekend. Aw.
Like my grandmother is gonna come, but that would be too late.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I was thinking that all of us could do an activity, and Miss Lee, you can also be a part of it, and you don't have to draw if you don't want to. But I was thinking that if anybody has any pieces of paper around them, or we could also just do a brainstorm about if you were a mermaid, what would you look like? I know that Miss Leo earlier was talking about like hair and what your hair like would look like. I know that when I was reading the book, I was thinking about what I really loved about this book was the way that it uses like the imagination, right? And how there wasn't really that many words in the book, but Miss Aaliyah did a great job of describing the book in the images, right? And how the author used images to tell a story, right? And how the imagination can take us places, right? So I was in my imagination too, and I was thinking if I was a mermaid, I think I would have like really long, like blue hair. Oh yeah. So if we all want to take like a couple of, I would say like maybe 30 seconds or a minute and just brainstorm, like if you were a mermaid, what would you look like? And if you would have any cool like attributes. Like I know that towards the end when they were doing the mermaid parade, there was different kinds of mermaids, right? Would you look more like a jellyfish or an octopus, right? Cool. So let's take like a 1-minute break, and everyone do a brainstorm, and feel free to draw it if you want. And yeah, then we'll come back, okay? Play some music.
Did everybody freeze on purpose, or is that just my speed?
What happened, Sally?
Did everything freeze on purpose, or is that?
I think your computer just froze.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, all right, everyone. Miss Sally joined me over here. We're having some technical difficulties. So I want to hear from everyone. If you were a mermaid, what would you be? Now I know Cadence, you wrote in the chat, but is there anything else you want to share? Pink braided hair, teal and light pink tail. Oh, I love that. That sounds so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Antonia, do you have an idea of what your mermaid would look like?
Like I would like a rainbow hair.
I
I
love
like a pink, and I like pink, blue, a pink, blue, and purple tail, and like no more.
okay. Yeah, I think that my tail would be like, I don't know, I really like the idea of it being kind of like a jellyfish too, and using those jellyfish to like, I don't know, as like receptors. I also like the idea of having lots of hands too.
Octopus, yeah.
Octopus,
Like an
octopus are really
octopus.
cool. They're really smart. If I could be an octopus mermaid, that'd be awesome. Yeah. What about you, Miss Sally?
I think like an octopus. Yeah, like an octopus mermaid.
What color would you be?
That's a good question. I do like the iridescent purple, blue, green, but I also really like the idea of like long, kind of really bright hair. So maybe like orange or orange and purple.
Yeah.
There's so many great, you know what? I want my hair to be able to change color depending on my mood.
I used to have
That's
a
what I
doll, like a
want.
Barbie that did that.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's so cool.
but like it changed. What about you, Miss Aaliyah? Would you look like the way you do now, or would you be a different kind of mermaid?
You know, I think we'd be a trio of octopus. Like I would really want to have the tentacles and be able to do all of that. I really, my favorite character in Disney is Ursula. So I think she's very misunderstood. So I would like to be like her. Magical.
Ursula's great.
I like her too. We were thinking earlier that the Mermaid Parade that Julian and his abuela go to, that's a real parade, and it really happens every year. And Miss Aaliyah, you've been there, right? You've been to that parade. Can you tell us what it's like when you're actually there in person and there's so many people dressed up in such fantastic outfits?
Yeah, so much light and bright colors, just people enjoying themselves and having freedom to express themselves with their hair and colors. And honestly, there's octopus. It's just kind of like the parade in the book. There's lots of different sea creatures and people just having so much fun. I mean, I would definitely urge people to go to it if they can.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I definitely want to go. Is it in June? Do you know?
I think it used to be in June. We lost a year, so my time frames are a little.
Yeah.
But I think it is around June. It's usually in the beginning of June because obviously Pride is at the end of the month. So.
Right.
I have another question and then I want to obviously give everybody else a chance to ask questions. Miss Aaliyah, when you were reading the book, you kind of were able to show us how Julian was expressing himself, and he was becoming the mermaid that he knew he was inside. And he was a little worried when he had to tell Abuela about when she found out that he realized he was a mermaid. Do you have any advice for us when you need to tell someone something that you're like not sure they're going to understand, and you want to tell them something? Do you have any advice for us?
Yeah, when you're facing something like an internal change or an internal feeling that you want to share with somebody, make sure that you are ready. Don't let anybody force you into it. If they suspect anything, or maybe Julian's abuela thought that he was a mermaid before he thought he was a mermaid, and she let him come to her. And that's a beautiful thing to have. It's a beautiful privilege to have. Also, when you notice that about somebody else, let them be honest with you before you try and force that on them, because some people can be not ready to share that, and they need that space. But also, when you are ready, know that there may be people out there who don't understand, and that's okay. It's okay for people to not understand differences, but it's never okay for them to make you feel bad about yourself. And know that there will always be people who do understand. And I think I can speak for Miss Sarah and Sally and myself, and we will always understand you. And I'm sure that your parents will be right there with us to understand who you are if you have something to share.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. That's really
Thank
wonderful.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Yes. Does anybody have any questions for Miss Aaliyah before we wrap up? No? Okay. Miss Leah, do you want to say anything else before we wrap up?
I'm just very happy to be here with all of you, and I hope I get to do this again so that we can become better friends. And keep designing those mermaid looks, and I want to see them. So I am on Instagram and all of those things. So maybe your parents can send me your photos, and I'm happy to look at them and say what great job you've done. And Sally and Miss Sarah have my contact info as well. So if you send them to them, I will be sure to look at them. But thank you, everybody. It's been such a huge pleasure, and you've all been such great friends today.
Yes, what I can do is when I send out our email on Friday, I can include Miss Aaliyah's Instagram handle on the email, so you guys can follow her on social media and keep in contact that way.
Absolutely.
Yay! Thank you so much, Miss Aaliyah. Before we wrap up, I want to tell you guys our reading for next week. Next week we'll be reading a book. So I'm going to share screen. We'll be reading a book called Frida, the Artist Who Paints Herself.
She's my absolute favorite.
Yes.
Oh yes, she's a great artist.
Yes. So this month we're highlighting artists from the LGBTQ community, and we're so excited to highlight Frida Kahlo. I have a Frida.
Do you have to wear something or something?
You don't have
Do
to.
you have to wear something or
You don't
do
have to.
something?
You don't have to. The only reason that we did that the last couple of weeks was because of the artists who were coming to read. But if you want to dress up as Frida Kahlo, you are more than welcome to. We would love that. All right. So that'll be next week at 4 p.m. We'll be here, same time, same day. And I love Frida Kahlo. She's also one of my favorite artists. And yeah, so if you have any questions in between there, you guys can email me and help us spread the word. All right, everyone?
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Miss Aaliyah.
Bye.